Right. Let's talk about the car radio. You probably think it's just a box. A simple box that plays the Archers or some dreadful pop music. You fiddle with a knob and sound comes out. Simple. But you would be wrong. Utterly, catastrophically wrong. That thing in your dashboard is not just a radio. It is the command center for your entire vehicular existence. Navigator, telephone, a personal DJ, sometimes the only thing standing between you and mind-numbing boredom on the M25. It is, and I say this with no exaggeration, one of the most complex bits of kit in your entire car. And how is this magnificent piece of electronic wizardry born? It doesn't just appear out of thin air, delivered by a stork wearing a tiny hard hat. No, its creation is a saga. It's an epic journey involving brilliant minds, ridiculously precise robots, and a level of testing that would make a military boot camp look like a spa day. Every great car radio starts in a room full of people I like to call the brains trust. These are the engineers. They're a special breed, half genius, half mad scientist. Their job is to dream up what this thing will actually do. They're not just thinking about AM/FM anymore. Oh no. They're thinking about massive touchscreens, the kind you'd normally see in a Bond villain's lair. They have to make sure the screen is bright enough to see in direct sunlight, but dim enough so it doesn't burn your retinas out at night. It's a fiendishly difficult balancing act. Then there's the sound. Sound is everything. The engineers spend countless hours, possibly years, obsessing over audio quality. They are on a holy quest for perfect acoustics. They have to design a system that can make a thumping rock anthem sound epic, but also make a podcast about gardening sound crystal clear. They work with acoustic experts to map out the inside of the car, figuring out the best place for every single speaker. They want you to feel the bass in your chest and hear every tiny cymbal crash as if the drummer was sitting in your passenger seat. Power. That's what they're after. And what about connecting your phone? This is a modern-day nightmare for engineers. Here, once the grand design is complete, it's time to choose the ingredients. A car radio is like a very, very complicated cake. If you use cheap, nasty ingredients, you get a soggy, disgusting mess. You must use the best. The buyers and material engineers are the master chefs here. They travel the world, metaphorically, to find the perfect components. They need plastics for the casing that won't creak or groan every time you go over a speed bump. These plastics also have to look and feel expensive, even if they aren't. It's a dark art, really. The screen is one of the most important choices. It has to be tough, incredibly tough. So they test it. They don't just tickle it with a feather, they attack it. They have special machines that poke the screen thousands upon thousands of times to simulate years of jabbing fingers. They have another machine that scratches it to make sure it won't be ruined by a stray car key or a diamond ring. They bake it in ovens and freeze it in industrial freezers to ensure it never cracks under pressure. It's brutal, but necessary. Then you have the tiny electronic components inside. The microchips, the capacitors, the resistors. These are the brains and the nervous system of the radio. There are literally thousands of them in a single unit. The company can't take any chances. They source these from the best manufacturers in the world. Each component has a detailed data sheet, a sort of passport, that proves it meets exacting standards for performance and reliability. A fun fact for you, a modern car can have over 100 million lines of software code, and a huge chunk of that lives right inside your radio system. It's more complex than a fighter jet. Now we get to the really clever bit, making the printed circuit board, or PCB. Think of this as the radio's skeleton and nervous system all rolled into one. It's a flat green board that starts out completely blank. The first step is to print the wiring onto it. This isn't done with ink, it's done with copper. A thin layer of copper is laminated onto the board. Photo etching removes the unwanted copper. Reveal intricate copper traces. Some of these traces are thinner than a human hair. Next, it's time to place the components. Doing this by hand would be impossible, so they use robots, pick-and-place machines. Reels feed tiny components into the machine, robot arm darting, placing parts, resistor, capacitor, microchip. One machine can place tens of thousands of components per hour. It's a mesmerizing high-speed ballet of machinery. Once components sit on the board, they need to be attached. They're held in place by a sticky substance called solder paste. The board rides through a reflow oven, a long tunnel that gets progressively hotter. Solder melts and flows around the component leads, board cools, solder hardens and locks everything in place. It's a bit like baking a very, very technical pizza. But how do you know if it worked? You can't just look. Many solder joints are hidden under chips. The board goes for an X-ray. AOI machines use cameras and clever software to scan the board. It compares the board to a perfect digital master. It checks placement, orientation, every solder joint. If it finds even the tiniest flaw, it flags the board for a human technician. A technician inspects and repairs the board. Nothing escapes its gaze. The perfect circuit board is ready. Now it has to become a radio. This happens on the assembly line, but you know, this isn't the grimy, oily production line of old. A modern electronics assembly line is actually cleaner than a hospital operating theatre. Workers wear special coats, wrist straps, and sometimes even hairnets. Why? Static electricity. Even a tiny spark from your jumper could fry delicate microchips. So, everything is designed to eliminate it. This is serious business. Here the human touch becomes important again. While robots are great at repetitive tasks, the final assembly really requires dexterity. A worker takes the main printed circuit board and carefully places it inside the radio's main chassis, which is often a heavy metal heatsink designed to draw heat away from the powerful processors. They connect various cables, ribbon connectors that link the main board to other parts, like the CD player mechanism, if it's one of those ancient things, or the ports for USB and auxiliary inputs. It all has to be done with a gentle but firm touch. Next comes the face of the radio. The screen and the front panel, with all its buttons and knobs, are brought in as a single pre-assembled unit. A worker carefully aligns this front panel with the main chassis and secures it. They connect the final ribbon cable that powers the screen and sends your touch commands to the main board. It's a crucial moment. Finally, the radio gets its outer shell. The plastic top and bottom casings are fitted and screwed into place. The last worker on the line gives it a final wipe with a special cloth, and for the first time it looks like a complete unit. It's gone from a collection of thousands of tiny parts to a single solid object. And hey, here's a fun fact. From the first component being placed on the printed circuit board to the final screw being tightened, the entire assembly process for one radio can take less than an hour. It's a testament to incredible planning and precision. The radio is built, but is it any good? Now it faces the most terrifying part of its young life, the testing phase. This is the gauntlet. Every single radio that comes off the assembly line is tested. Not just 1 in 100, every single one. It's plugged into a special testing rig. A nest of cables and probes connects to every part. A computer runs a barrage of automated diagnostic tests. It checks buttons, colours, and that sound comes out of every speaker channel. Then things get physical. Radios are pulled for environmental testing. This is not polite. They go into a shake and bake chamber. They're violently shaken. Temperatures swing from furnace to Arctic. All the while, the radio must keep playing and responding. They test for electrical interference. A car is electrically noisy. Engine, fans, electric windows. The radio is placed in an anechoic chamber. Engineers blast it with radio signals to try to make it fail. They are actively trying to break it. The radio has survived. It has been built. It has been tested. It has been tortured. It has emerged victorious. Now it must be prepared for its journey to the car factory. You can't just chuck these things in a cardboard box. The packaging is a work of engineering. Each radio is placed into a custom-molded tray, often made from recycled plastic or fibre. The tray protects the screen and protruding knobs. Trays are stacked into robust containers made for forklifts and robots, and designed to be reusable to cut down on waste. Everything is barcoded: the radio, the tray, the container. The company knows exactly where each radio is. It's a global game of pass the parcel with a multi-million-pound tracking system. Logistics is the name of the game. Car factories run just-in-time manufacturing. They don't keep massive stockpiles. Parts must arrive just when needed on the assembly line. A lorry might leave the factory in Portugal. It must hit a narrow delivery window at a plant in Germany. If the lorry is late, the production line can grind to a halt. The cost would be astronomical, so the pressure is immense. Before doors are sealed, a final quality check. Packaging correct? Any damage? Are the barcodes readable? Last chance to catch a problem. Doors close, paperwork signed, shipment begins across countries and continents. The lorry arrives at the car factory. A vast, sprawling cathedral of industry. Containers are unloaded, robots whisk crates toward the line. This is where the radio will finally meet its car. A painted shell glides by. The worker scans the car's barcode. The factory computer identifies the exact radio required. Hands reach into a spaghetti of wires and connector ports. Connect the main power. Connect the antenna cable. Connect the speaker wires. Connect the network cable to the car's main computer. It's like performing keyhole surgery. Slide the radio unit into the dashboard cavity. It clicks into place with a satisfying thud. The fit is perfect, down to the millimeter. Now the radio must be woken up. Technician plugs the laptop into the diagnostic port. The computer codes the radio to the vehicle. You are now in a Ford Focus. You have 6 speakers. You have a reversing camera. The radio configures itself accordingly. Radios are electronically tied to their car. You can't just swap them. It's a security feature. A stolen radio is useless. The moment of truth arrives. Technician turns on the ignition for the first time. The screen flickers to life. The manufacturer's logo appears. The system boots up. Does the radio tune? Does navigation see satellites? Does the screen respond to touch? The radio is alive inside its new home. It's the source of the soundtrack to your road trips. It's the calm voice that guides you when you are hopelessly lost. It's the link to your family and friends through a hands-free call. It keeps the kids in the back quiet with a playlist. That probably deserves a Nobel Prize. It does so much more than just play the news. It transforms driving from a task into something enjoyable, something personal. Think about it. The technology packed into that slim unit is staggering. A decade or two ago, satellite navigation, a multi-disc CD changer, a car phone, all of that once needed a boot full of gear and a fortune. Today it's all one elegant interface, more powerful than the computers that sent men to the moon. Fun fact. Some high-end systems have over 30 speakers, each one precisely placed and tuned by audio engineers. It's a concert hall on wheels. Next time you get in, and that screen greets you with a cheerful chime, spare a thought for its journey. From a mad idea on a whiteboard, to robotic manufacturing, to brutal testing. It's not just a car radio, it's a masterpiece of modern engineering, your command centre on the road. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off for a drive. I've found a great B-road. I have a very loud album that needs to be listened to properly.